Life as a wildlife ranger, we meet the man who lived and worked at one of the region's most remote spots. Now, there are times when we all just want to get away from it all, aren't there? But what about at the age of 19? Going off to live and work in one of the region's most remote spots. Well, that's exactly what my next guest, Ajay Tegala, did, working as a wildlife ranger on Norfolk's Blakeney Point. He's got a new book about his experience, and he joins me now. Now, Ajay, we know you from Springwatch, of course. We will talk about that. But your love of wildlife and being out in nature started very young, didn't it?
Yes, it started, I guess, as soon as I could walk, out sort of looking at ducks on the local river, and then looking in an identification guide and seeing what all the different species were. And it sort of set me off on a mission to find as many different species of wildlife as I could.
And you started volunteering at the age of 15, yeah?
Yes, that's right.
And then this amazing opportunity came up. Tell us about it.
Well, yeah, I started volunteering with the Norfolk Coast team, with the National Trust at Blakeney, and then I got a seasonal job living out on Blakeney Point, working with the wildlife in the summer. So you're out there in this old lifeboat station that creaks, with the old woodwork, and living 24/7 with the birds, making sure that they're safe, that they're not disturbed. And so it's a big responsibility, but an absolute joy to be surrounded by wildlife and see some amazing sunsets.
So it was the birds and seals, I guess, as well.
Yes. So in the wintertime, it all shifts to seals because the grey seals pup then. So yeah, wonderful life with birds in the summer, and then something completely different, the seals in the winter. And they take over the beach and have their pups, and thousands of them are born on Blakeney Point.
I'm sure many people watching will know Blakeney well. I mean, it is remote. Was it lonely? I mean, how did you find that experience?
I suppose there's moments of solitude, but I think they're really restoring, actually, when you're in a beautiful place and you've got time to yourself to think and reflect. There's something really, really calming about hearing the sea in the background. And yeah, it's not for everybody. For some people, it would be an absolute nightmare, and you've got to be organised with your shopping because you're out there for a week at a time, so you've got to have all your provisions. So you kind of get used to it and then settle into it. And yeah, it's quite an amazing lifestyle, but for me, it was an absolute dream job.
And moments of jeopardy as well, were there?
Oh, sure, because the birds that nest on the ground, they've got so many threats that face them, like the weather, the tides. So you could be there, watching the forecast and thinking, gosh, let's hope that these waves don't come too high up the beach because the eggs will get washed away. So you're sat there in those moments of jeopardy. But on the whole, you see a whole range of different things happening, but you get that warming feeling when you see wildlife doing well.
And you've written a book about it, which, must be fabulous just to write it all down and have that there as a record. Springwatch, got to talk to you about Springwatch. The latest series has just finished. I mean, what a joy it must be to be part of that team.
Oh, yes, yeah, Wild Ken Hill on the Norfolk coast, an amazing place. They're doing some great work there, farming for wildlife. And, what a show to be part of that and see what goes on behind the scenes. And as a lover of wildlife, it's just the most wonderful thing to be involved in.
So if there are sort of 14 and 15-year-olds watching who would like to follow in your footsteps, and, what would you say to them?
Well, always keep an eye out when you're out walking. Look, take it all in, enjoy the wildlife, really nurture that interest, and try volunteering as well. That's where I started, and that's when I realised that it was for me. And that's when you start to make those contacts, you start to develop your experience, and that can lead to the most wonderful things.
And you still get time, do you, with everything that you're doing, just for you to be out in nature and enjoy it and not work?
Yeah, I make sure I always have a bit of time, and I've got a dog who needs walking, so that always gets me out.
That helps, doesn't it? Ajay, thank you so much. Thank you for coming to talk to us.
Thank you.